Hi everyone, thank you for joining me. Today's cards are all about geometric patterns featuring Spellbinders Color Block Mini Diamonds. I love playing with color and I love playing with patterns to create backgrounds or accents. This two-piece die set gives you a lot of bang for your buck. There are endless configurations and color combinations, and hopefully these two cards give you some inspiration to jump into the world of geometry. For my first background, I'm working on an A2 size piece of ivory cardstock. When I'm done, I'll cut the panel with a rectangular die so that I can make sure that the diamonds top to bottom and left to right are the same. This set comes with two dies, one that creates a solid diamond and then the other die creates 4 frames and one little mini solid diamond. Several diamonds were cut using the frame die out of pink, lavender, ivory, and matte gold cardstock. I started by laying out the largest diamond across the top of my panel. I only adhered this first row and then laid out all the other diamonds following the same color rotation. After the interior of the panel was laid out, I then went to the perimeter and filled in diamonds around the edges. Once the pattern is established, this is a fun and relaxing activity. My main pattern is complete, so now I'm going to die cut the panel. The die is not centered on the panel. Rather, it is positioned so that the diamonds that are on the edges will be the same top to bottom and left to right. So I did spend a little bit of time fiddling around to make sure that everything was exactly the way I wanted it, and then I reached for the low tack purple tape to make sure it does not shift as it goes through the die cutter. The panel is mounted on foam and then left to dry for a few minutes before the excess is trimmed off. A jewel picker makes the task of adding in those small diamonds in the large diamond frame an easy undertaking. I wouldn't want to be dealing with itty-bitty die cuts without it. The card base is A2 size, measuring 5.5 inches by 4.25 inches, and it is matted with pink cardstock. And then on goes the foam-backed panel, and I'm going to go ahead and prepare my second panel before I do the finishing touches on both of the cards. For the second card, I'm also starting with a panel of ivory cardstock, but it has already been cut down to size, 4 inches by 5.25 inches. To create the accents for this card, the frame die was used to cut both ivory and pink cardstock 4 times each. I began by laying out and then adhering the largest pink diamond down the side of the panel. Then it was simply a matter of filling in the diamonds by alternating between the pink and ivory die cuts. The adhesive was applied directly to the card front within each of those outer frames, making this a very quick undertaking. For the first background, I had to be careful to make sure that everything was lining up. For this second one with the accents, that was not necessary. It was just like putting a puzzle together. This card was prepared the very same way as the last card. The panel was mounted on foam, matted on pink cardstock, and then onto an A2 size card base. So now for the finishing touches. I'm beginning with the sentiment. It will be highlighted by all of the other details that go onto these card fronts. I'm using both the script dies and the coordinating shadow die from Spellbinders Layered Mix and Match Sentiments. For some added dimension, the shadow die was used to cut both ivory cardstock and foam. The scripty sentiments were die cut from soft pink cardstock. Several elements from the adorable die set Just a Tweet will be used to complete these cards. For the birthday card, I'm going to be using the balloons and the accompanying texture plates. These are super cute. The balloon string has been die cut from matte gold cardstock and the balloons from ivory and pink cardstock. All of the elements were also die cut from foam. I first adhere the balloon to the little tie-off thing, not sure what to call it. The balloon string is quite fine. I've die cut it from foam, but I've left it in its background, applied glue, and then I stack the cardstock one on it. I often use this method for sentiments, but this works very well for any of your die cuts that are fine. And while that's drying, I go ahead and add my foam die cuts to the balloons. After several minutes, the adhesive is dry and I can remove the strings from the backing. The addition of the dimension really helps this fine die cut stand out from the background. Two of the balloons are foam mounted and the one that's in the center is not, so I attach that one first. Then on goes one of the foam mounted ones. The little tie off on the balloon does not have foam, so this portion is able just to sit right on top of the end of the string. After the foam back sentiment is in place, the card is wrapped up with a few floral details also from the Just a Tweet die set. The little flower petals are bent upwards just to give them a little bit of dimension. After a number of leaves are tucked in, the flower centers are finished off with confetti. The confetti for both cards is a beautiful rainbow mix by Studio Cassia. For the second card, I will be using just a floral design to highlight the sentiment. Again, I will be using the flower and leaf dies from Just a Tweet. I begin by creating an arrangement of the pink and ivory flower blossoms. Once they are in place, then I can start tucking in all the leaves. The die in this set that cuts the leaves also cuts a little round flower center. I'm not going to use it as a flower center at all, but I am going to use it as an accent. So this is about as far as I took it on the first day. It's not untypical of me to look at things the next day and decide whether I need to add on a few more bits and pieces. And typically I do end up adding in at least something. So what you're not going to see is the addition of a few more leaves and green accents so that this arrangement looks more like a floral spray. Like the previous card, the flower centers are finished off with yellow confetti that has been picked out of the rainbow mix. And another thing that is typical for me, all of the confetti on both cards will be finished off with Nouveau Crystal Drops Morning Dew. And then I decided that the green accents were kind of like confetti as well, so I topped those up too. The balloons were given a shiny appearance with Nouveau Crystal Glaze. And that wraps up this pair of cards featuring Spellbinders Color Block Mini Diamonds. This is an awesome little die set that is very affordable and really gives you good value for your money. 2 little dies and so many possibilities. I love sets that are versatile, and I also love those ones that work well with anything else you throw at it. I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, I appreciate your visit.